Hello everyone, my name is John from Vulgar Kitten Studios, and now I'm going to show you how to add contact forms to your WordPress website. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my browser, and I'm already in the dashboard here, and we have this Contact Us page right here, and right now this is blank, so we want to actually make this send us some email. And so one thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to lock this down with a CAPTCHA system just so that we can prevent spam from coming through, or at least add another layer of security to help prevent spam. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use Google's recaptcha system. So we'll just Google recaptcha, and we're going to go ahead and go over to the website here and get recaptcha. Now you will need to be logged in with with an account. Let me just go ahead and log in with Vulgar Kitten Studios here, and I'll need to go back to recaptcha, and this is going to be attached to your Google account. And right now I don't have anything in here, but if we go to my account, we can actually add a domain. And by default, if you're using localhost, then all recaptcha keys will actually work for it. But since we're actually using a virtual host called WordPress, we're going to need to name it what our virtual host is named. So we're going to say WordPress, and we're just going to create that. And now we have this WordPress site, and we can see that we have a public key and a private key. So we're going to need those. And let's go ahead and go back into our dashboard, and we're going to start getting some plugins. So I'm going to add a new plugin. I'm going to get WP recaptcha. There it is, so we'll go ahead and install now. And let this download. Go ahead and activate the plugin. And now let's go ahead and set up the settings for that. So we're going to need that public key and private key. Let's go ahead and grab the public key, and make sure you only get the public key. You don't want any white space before or after that. So just paste that in there, and just make sure that we don't have any space over here, so we don't. And same thing for the private key. And it looks like, let's see, is that exactly the same? No, okay. So that's right. That's odd. Those are very, very similar. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just choose a theme, which I'm going to use the black glass theme. And I'm just going to save. Okay, so now we have that saved. We can make use of that. But let's go ahead and add in our other plugins, because we're only going to be working with the contact form for right now. So we're going to grab contact form 7, just because it makes it really, really easy for us to use contact forms. And so we'll go ahead and install contact form 7. And we'll activate the plugin. And we're also going to need, let's just look for WP recaptcha one more time. So WP recaptcha. No, there we go. And this plugin directly to the right, contact form 7 recaptcha extension, we want to go ahead and grab that. So I'm going to go ahead and install this as well. And we'll go ahead and activate the plugin. Now there is a problem that I've found with this contact form extension for recaptcha. So we're going to have to modify the code a little bit. So right now I'm just in Sublime Text. You can actually open this with any text editor that you want. I'm just using Sublime Text because I like it. So I'm going to File, Open File, and I'm going to find my var www WordPress public HTML WP content plugins. The contact form 7 recaptcha extension includes, and the cf7 recaptcha.class.php file. I'll go ahead and open that up, and I'm going to search for the function tag underscore pane, and we can see there's an ampersand right here. We're going to just remove that and Control S to save it. And now we'll actually be able to use that. Not sure why that doesn't work, but it doesn't, so we need to remove that specific little character there. And now we'll go ahead and create our contact form. So we'll go to add new contact form, and well, actually we already have one pre-made for us, so we can actually use this one. Let's just use this contact form here, and we're going to generate a tag for it, which will be the recaptcha tag. And now we have the shortcode here. If we didn't make the modification to the class, then we wouldn't actually be able to get the shortcode, so that's why we had to make the modification. I'm just going to drag this over here right below the message field and put a line break above it. And so we'll go ahead and save that. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab the shortcode right here. We'll copy it, and we'll come into All Pages and go to our Contact Us page. And by default you should be in visual, however you can go over to text. You can do this either way. I just like to go over to text whenever I'm using shortcodes like this and just paste it in. Just make sure you paste it in as plain text without any formatting. And we'll go ahead and update that. And so let's go ahead and go over to our Contact Us page. We'll refresh, and we don't get a contact form right away. So let's go ahead and clear our cache and see if that does anything. So let's clear browsing data, and I'm going to unselect everything except for probably this and cached images and files, so cookies and cached. And I don't want to clear all of that, or maybe hosted app data. So we'll go ahead and clear browsing data, and now we can see that we have our recaptcha showing. So that was being cached elsewhere, or our cache was caching this page without this HTML, and so we needed to clear that. But now we have the CAPTCHA, and this form field won't actually be submitted until this CAPTCHA is called correctly. And all of the functions work, so you can actually play that out loud, and you can refresh the CAPTCHA and get different fields like so. And there's one more thing that I want to go over with the contact form. Is by default WordPress uses a let's see, am I still logged in here? No, I'm not logged in because I cleared my browsing data. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the dashboard and just go ahead and open up my KeyPass. Sorry about this. Okay. Copy username and copy password, and we'll log back in here. And to actually send email, we don't want to use the WP mail function, which is what WordPress automatically supports, because it uses the PHP mail function. We want to actually use SMTP instead. And the reason that we want to use SMTP is, first of all, we're testing on a local host, and so we can do it like this without actually modifying our SMTP server settings on our local computer. Also, if you're using PHP mail, a lot of times mail will actually be sent to people's spam folders, so you want to use SMTP whenever possible. So that's the reason that we're going to be using this plugin. I'm going to go ahead and go and add a new plugin, and I'm going to get WP mail SMTP, and I'm going to go ahead and install this, and we'll go ahead and activate the plugin. And now let's see, we want to go to the settings for WP mail SMTP, and we want to fill these in. Now I've already filled out all of this information. I'm not going to scroll down just because it's got my password. Well, let me go ahead and just do this. I don't want to show you my password, but okay. Okay, so I've removed the password. The settings are like this. If you want to use Gmail, you can use whatever SMTP server that you want. If you have your own server, you can put that in here, but I'm just using the from email, vulgarkittenstudios@gmail.com, and the name that it's going to display when it displays who it's from is going to be VKS, or we could say Vulgar Kitten Studios. And we want to use the SMTP mail function, not PHP mail. And we're not going to worry about all of this, but we want to set our SMTP host to smtp.gmail.com, or whatever your SMTP host is. And if you're using non-SSL, you will want to use 587. However, if you're using Gmail, then that does support SSL, so we can use 465 and then tick on the use SSL encryption. Otherwise, you would use no encryption. And if you're using SSL, then you do want to use the SMTP authentication, which will require a password. And the username and password is just your email address and your password. And that's the reason why I moved that out of the way. So let me just go ahead and put my password back in, just so you don't see it. And then you will just save changes, and that will be everything that you need. I'll just bring this back over here, and that'll be everything that you need to set up for your SMTP settings. So now that we have that set up, let's go back into contact real quick. Contact forms, and I'm just going to edit this. One thing that we do need to do is make sure that we supply the proper to email address in our form. And by default, this is going to john@vulgarkittenstudios.com, which is inaccessible right now. So I'm actually going to send that to myself at john.menning89@gmail.com, just so we'll receive that. And let me go ahead and update this, so we'll save. And one more thing, I'll actually need to go to Gmail, and I'll need to sign in with myself. And there we go. So now what I'll do is just go over to our contact, and I'll fill out my name, so John, and I'll just put John at Vulgar Kitten Studios as the return address, and the subject is testing message, and I'm going to say this is a contact form message. And so now if we try to send, first of all, we're going to get an error, so we'll actually need to include the CAPTCHA in there. And let me refresh this so I can get a better one, and I'll do 5110, and we'll send. And so now the message was sent successfully. Let's go ahead and check it out. So now we have a message from John that says testing email, and it has the from address, so we can just click this to reply to it. Subject, message, and this is a contact form message, and everything functions as we expect it to. Alright, so that's how to add contact forms to your WordPress website, and thank you for watching. I will see you in a future video. Bye bye now.